Okay, so I got 6 minutes into that video and realised I hadn't turned my microphone on, and that is the first time I've done that. So whenever I watch videos now and I see people saying, oh yeah, I've just filmed this video and forgot to turn the mic on, and I go, how did you manage that? Now I know. So sorry if I've ever thought that about any YouTuber before. Because I now have an external microphone. I've never had one of them before. At least it gave me a little run-in. All of the waffle that I put in the last video is going to be cut out of this one, so you're welcome. I'm going to point out this t-shirt first of all. I'm wearing this t-shirt, which is from the lovely Joni. They sent me this, and I absolutely love it. The words are like velvety. It's really, really nice. But the reason I'm wearing this is because this video is a Q&A about my upcoming novel, When the Curtain Falls, which is out in 19 days. 19 days, that's less than 3 weeks. And in celebration of it being less than 3 weeks until my book comes out, I posted a link on Instagram the other day to the prologue of my book, which you can read online. I will also post it below this video, so I really hope you like it. And I'm aware that not a lot of people know what this book is about, so I asked on Instagram for people to ask me questions, and I'm going to answer some of them now. How do you come up with all the names for your books? Now, all of my novels have a theme completely by accident. They all have 5 syllables in their titles. It wasn't planned, it just happened, but now that it's happening more and more, I'm too scared to break the theme. 5 syllables is where I'm at, and I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna keep trying to make titles out of 5 syllables. It'd have to be something very special to break it, but we've got On the Other Side, All That She Can See, and When the Curtain Falls. And the title for what I hope to be my next novel also has 5 syllables in it, completely by accident. So now, if there are more books to come past that one, I'm just gonna have to try really hard. But the reason this book in particular is called When the Curtain Falls is because right at the beginning, when I was coming up with the concept for this novel, I really liked the idea that there were 2 characters who were in love with each other but couldn't necessarily be together for, at the time, some unknown reason, but their secret time to meet was after the show had finished, aka When the Curtain Falls. And that was kind of like their secret little code for each other. When did you have your aha moment when you came up with the first idea for the book? I was working on a different idea at the time and was just feeling really stuck and sort of putting off working on it because I wasn't massively excited by it, even though I knew it was an idea that had potential and could go somewhere. We got to the Festival Theatre. It was our first venue in Edinburgh for the Addams Family tour, and I was already kind of in like a creepy kooky place because of the Addams Family being, you know, about like the ancestors in the Addams Family are all ghosts, so I was kind of already in that sort of headspace. And then I found a plaque on the wall on my first day in the Festival Theatre that was dedicated to the great Lafayette, who was an illusionist who died on stage at the Festival Theatre. And I was completely taken. I love a ghost story anyway, but I was completely taken with this particular ghost story because I got excited about, you know, maybe potentially seeing this ghost when we were there, and that coupled with the fact that I was kind of involved in a showmance at the time as well, and this idea started to form in my head about a ghost story interfering with a romance that was happening within the setting of a theatre. And as soon as I came up with that, I was like, see ya, to the other idea, and that was the moment where I was like, I have to work on this, because it's like writing and theatre, it's 2 things that I love so much in one, and that was too exciting to pass up. Are any of your characters based on real people or real events? Yeah, absolutely. I have worked in theatre since I was 7 years old. I have a really good sense of what working in theatre is like. I've met so many amazing people over the years. I've met some characters over the years. I've had so many pivotal moments in my life that have all happened within theatre, whether that's on stage or off stage. And I'm hoping that's what is going to make this book so sort of charming and endearing and warm, is because it's coming from a place of knowing exactly what it's like to be within that environment. What one item could each of your characters not live without? That's a really good question. I really like that. So within the book, we have 2 couples. One couple are in 1952, which is when the show was first written and first put on at the Southern Cross Theatre. And then a couple in 2018, present day, who are doing the same show in the same theatre but it's obviously a more recent production. So Walter and Fawn in 1952 and Oscar and Olive in present day. Fawn has a green armchair in her dressing room, which is stolen from real life. I grew up with a green armchair in my house that was my great-granddad's, I think, and that's just a very strong memory in my mind, so I put it into Fawn's dressing room, and she loves that armchair as much as I love that armchair, so I'm going to say that for Fawn. Walter is the only character to appear as a living, breathing human being in both 1952 and 2018, and he is the stage doorman. He works at the theatre, so I'm going to say for Walter it's his keys to the stage door. For Oscar, I'm going to say it's a cup of coffee, and Olive, I'm going to say her dressing gown. If you could describe When the Curtain Falls in 3 words, what would they be? Dramatic, magical, and romantic. Did you ever cry while writing When the Curtain Falls? Yeah, there's a couple events in the book that actually happened within my own life. I feel like the reason so many writers or artists are considered tortured souls is because when they put their own emotion or their own experiences into their work, they are forced to relive those experiences over and over and over again until that piece of work is finished. And so if you're reliving a torturous or sad or negative experience, it could drive you crazy. And at the end, I cried at the end. I always cry at the end of a book, mainly out of sheer relief that it's over and sheer disbelief that I managed to finish another book. Which character was the most fun to write? I think it's probably the villain of the book, called Hamish Boatwright, mainly because he's so unlike anyone I actually know. So he's entirely fictitious, which meant I could just run with him and make him as villainous and evil as I wanted to. How long have you wanted to create a book combining your 2 passions? It's funny because prior to this book, I'd never really thought about it before. I felt like that was too obvious. I feel like if you're an actress, people expect your fiction to mirror that, and that my book's going to be about a young girl who once went to drama school, who only dreamed of being a big star, and blah, 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 you know what I mean? You know, it just felt a bit... So it took a long time to find the perfect idea that married those 2 things perfectly without it feeling really forced and cliche. Okay, this is my final question. If your books could have different personalities like members of a family, which personality would When the Curtain Falls have? That's a really fun question. I feel like all I know now is the auntie that when your kids decide to run away from home, that's who they run to, because she's always got sweets and she's always got advice. On the other side, I feel like is Grandma, who seems very like otherworldly, and she's very spiritual but very grounded at the same time, but she always comes out with the best stories and you're like, I can't believe that happened in your lifetime. Tell me again. All that she can see, I feel like, is a very self-sacrificing mother who just wants everyone in her family to be happy, even if that means she overthinks everything and worries about every little detail, and she always bakes pie. When the Curtain Falls, I feel like, is that distant relative that maybe no one really knew, maybe she's not with us anymore, but every now and again someone brings her up in conversation, like, oh, do you remember that aunt that we used to have, that actress that we had in the family, you know, led that really glamorous yet tragic life. And then they bring up photos, bring out old photo albums, and she's there looking like Peggy Carter with her red lipstick, and like looking like Marilyn Monroe in all of the old photos, and there's newspaper cuttings of that show that she was in and that scandal that she was involved with. But when she was at home with her family, she never really talked about it. She was very reserved, and all of this glamour and this wonder that was within her life was completely hidden from the people that she was close to. That's who I think When the Curtain Falls is. Thank you so much to everyone who asked questions on Instagram. I will continue answering over on Instagram, so please keep the questions coming. And just thank you for continuing to show your love and support for all of my little projects. I really appreciate it, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you so much, and see you real soon.